She is looking at you, or that's what you think. For centuries, people have been looking at the same painting and stopping at the same point. What was this girl about to say? In fact, the real issue is not what she was going to say, but that she never gives us a complete answer, because the human mind is strangely drawn to what is unfinished. And that is why this face is a silent mirror of humanity's existential search for meaning. By the end of this video, what you will realize is how your mind completes missing information while trying to solve the painting. Keep this in mind. We will search for the answer in the girl's gaze, in the unfinished expression of her lips, and in the detail of the pearl. Johannes Vermeer made this painting in the 1660s, 17th century Netherlands, a period where not kings but merchants were rising, where not the church but the individual became visible, where art left the palace and entered homes. Art historian Svetlana Alpers explains this transformation as follows. Painting no longer tells a story, it records a way of seeing. Vermeer does exactly this. But in this painting, something changes. Look at Vermeer's other paintings. A woman reads a letter. A maid pours milk. A musician plays. In all of them, you are outside, a silent observer, separated, distant. That is the first truth. But then comes this painting. Girl with a pearl earring, and something changes. For the first time, someone turns toward you, and it feels different. Not like watching a scene, but like entering a moment. Art critic Lawrence Gowing describes it like this. Vermeer does not paint a scene, he paints an encounter. And in that encounter, you feel included, inside, present, almost seen. But here is where the illusion begins, because that feeling is only one layer of perception. Actually, we are not inside this scene. We never were. We are only allowed to look at it, from the outside, from a controlled distance. And both of these things are true at the same time. The feeling of being inside and the reality of being outside. This is not a contradiction. It is the mechanism of the painting. First, it pulls you in. Then it reveals the distance. Because Vermeer's world works like this. It gives you proximity, without ever removing separation. It creates the sensation of contact while maintaining control. So yes, she looks at you, and yes, you feel seen. But that experience is part of the construction, a carefully designed illusion of presence. And when you step back, you realize something unsettling. You were never inside the scene. You were always the observer. Just closer than you thought. So why is this so disturbing? Because nothing is complete. The lips are slightly parted. The eyes are fixed. The movement is unfinished, as if someone called out to her. And she turned at that exact moment. But there is no after. Art historian Ernst Gombrich has an important idea. In art, the viewer completes what is missing. In psychology, this corresponds to the mind's tendency to close ambiguity. Like the closure principle of Gestalt psychology, the brain wants to perceive a half-finished face, a half-finished expression, even a half-finished story as if it were complete. In other words, our brain automatically completes a missing puzzle piece. That is why when you look at the painting, you do not just see her. You also place your own expectations, your fears, and your curiosity onto her. And the thing that is missing here is the story itself. The mind does not like emptiness. That is why it is drawn to what is missing. That is why you fill that space. You see what you want to see. Now let's look at the most famous detail, the pearl. In fact, the reason why this detail is so famous lies exactly here. While the entire painting is a mystery, it becomes the first thing your eye catches. It suddenly shines out of the dark background. It stands like the only point of light that breaks the silence of the face. And what engraves the entire painting into memory is this small but striking contrast. But the truth is, this is most likely not a pearl. There is no hook. There is no clear form. There are only a few brushstrokes. Art historian Arthur Wheelock says, this is not an object but the behavior of light. So Vermeer is not showing you something. He is making you think that you see something. This is critical, Because what is happening here is not just a painting, it is the manipulation of perception. What you call reality is often just a convincing illusion. So who is this girl? The wrong question. Because this is not a portrait, this is a tronie. That is a work that represents not a specific person, but an expression, a character. Like the laughing man, Male Babe, and again Vermeer's The Girl with a Wine Glass. She has no identity, she has no story, but she has an effect. Even the turban on her head is not random. In 17th century Netherlands, such exotic-looking pieces were not just decoration, they were signs of trade and power. Fabrics coming from the East, Ottoman turbans, Indian silks, pigments carried from distant ports. All of these were flowing into Europe through the Netherlands' maritime trade. The port of Amsterdam at that time carried not only goods, but also imagery. Even the expensive ultramarine pigment used by Vermeer was part of this world. It was obtained from lapis lazuli extracted in Afghanistan and was more valuable than gold. So the headpiece you see in this painting is far more than a local garment. It is the gathering of a global trade network, wealth, and distant geographies on a single face. But there is also a game here. The pearl may be fake, the clothing may be a costume, because Vermeer shows us not a person, but a possibility. Not a real identity, but a carefully constructed image. Now look again. Is she really looking at you? Or are you the one completing that gaze? The true subject of this painting is the mind that looks at it. Because she does not change. But everyone who looks at her changes. The same face, different eras, different eyes, different meanings. And that is why this work is still alive. This painting, instead of giving you an answer, leaves you alone with your own answer. It shows a face, but gives no identity. It shows a gaze, but hides its intention. In a moment, you begin to read not the painting, but your own expectations, your own curiosity, your own voids. What you see in her silence is often not hers. It is the meaning your mind places into that silence. Perhaps what makes this work unforgettable is not a story it tells, but the space it opens within you. And while trying to fill that space, you reveal yourself without even realizing it. If you are ready to confront it, answer this. What did you see?